Charlie, for someone that's only 21 years of age, it's safe to say that you've already experienced a fair amount in your footballing career so far. Let's go right back to the very start. You started playing football at the age of 5, is that correct?
Going way back to that was the first time I started really enjoying football. I guess like basketball was my first sport actually. For some reason I went into that at a really early age, but realised when I was about 4 or 5 actually I prefer football. And my first kind of situation in football was at a futsal team actually, a futsal setup called Brazilian Soccer Skills at the time, where we all had our own ball and it was all about technique and just enjoying yourself, skills, and that really actually set me up in a way. So I started playing when I was 5. Loved it since from the get-go.
Yeah, obviously from there, Chelsea came calling at the age of 6, but your parents sort of felt it came too soon. How important, I mean, from what we understand, you've got a very close relationship with your parents and family's a massive thing for you. How important was that for them to sort of help you make those decisions as you sort of progress through your youth career?
Massive. I've been really lucky to have the family I have around me. At that age, it was I probably didn't know how big a decision it was at the time, but obviously for my parents to kind of, that's how they were. They always just wanted the best for me, and they actually thought, let's wait a couple of years, let's wait a few years, and turned out when I was 9. A bit of help from my sisters actually as well. They did originally think 6 was maybe slightly early, but it was So I started my trial when I was 9, and I didn't really look back since. It was my home for a lot of years to come.
Yeah, I mean, you spoke about that there, obviously, with your 2 sisters as well, and them sort of having their influence. It seems that you were a family's a massive part to your life, and they've really played a massive part sort of where you are today.
Massive. I always try and show them as much gratitude, and I owe them a lot, in terms of what they've done for me, and we're really close as a family, and that helps as well because the football journey is ups and downs. It's a bit of a roller coaster. So to have a family that's so supportive and so there and connected with me is really beneficial.
Yeah, we'll move through your timeline a little bit now, and you almost sort of then found a second family when you moved into digs with Chelsea when you were 13 years old. What was that like? Obviously, moving away from home, continuing to develop in the academy, but sort of dealing with different people and different backgrounds, sort of thing.
Yeah, it was. I look back now and I sometimes think, God, it was a bigger change than I might have necessarily realised at the time. Like I was 13 and all I really felt was excitement because I was going into a full-time arrangement at Chelsea, and that was massive and so exciting, and it was something that I really wanted to do and to progress. But looking back, it was a big decision. And especially for my parents, to allow and let your 13-year-old son leave home at that age. You're young, and but I really just took it in my stride, and the family that I ended up being with, a lady called Jen and her mum called Marion, who sadly passed away now. But those two really took me and another teammate of mine, Derek, in like they were, we were their own, and that made it really, really easy. And again, I have massive, I'm really grateful to them because they made it such a warm place to go back to, and it made the transition so much easier. And it was a really, really great experience. I was with them for 4 years or so, and it really felt like a second home. So,
do you think that's one thing that's maybe been so important for you in your career so far? That sort of nurturing and that chance to sort of grow wherever you may have been.
Yeah, I think the full-time setup really made me grow and really made me develop as a person, as well as a football player. About dealing with a lot at quite a young age, and it kind of just stands you in good stead for hopefully for the rest of your life, because you're faced with challenges, you're faced with problems, and you deal with pressure quite a lot from a early age, which can be difficult, but the more you the more you learn from it, the more you're kind of accustomed to it, the better. And it was such a valuable time for me.
I mean, like you've sort of touched on there, your experience sort of kept progressing, and you dealt with different challenges. Not necessarily a challenge for you, but the opportunity to play for England's youth teams, from the under-16s set up all the way through to the under-20s, and having the opportunity to captain the England youth teams as well. What was that experience like? Obviously, being able to not only represent your country but also lead the team out.
Yeah, it was a massive honour from the get-go. I was, I was 15 when I played them for the first time, and I always remember that moment was something that so surreal. Putting on the famous white kit and feeling that how you feel while you wear it. It's an absolute privilege, and to be in that elite setup from that age as well can really help me, because I saw how the best do it, and how I want to live my life and do things, and to captain them at various points was also a massive personal achievement, but also it was just such a special feeling, and it does make you feel you feel really honoured, and you really don't want to take it for granted, that feeling you get, because it's quite a rare one.
Yeah, I mean, you touched there on seeing how the best do it. You turned 17 and then you're offered a pro contract at Chelsea. 2021, the year Chelsea won the Champions League as well. You're then getting called up to the first team squad with Thomas Tuchel in charge and training with the likes of Thiago Silva, N'Golo Kante, Cesar Azpilicueta, those sort of experienced players. Just that step up, and as it was mentioned in Chelsea's documentary, moving over the road to the first team building. What was that like, the big step up?
Yeah, it was incredible. I mean, I was at an age where it was such a big thing, being involved in that group, especially that group at Chelsea was the elite, and what they won as a team was what everyone strives for. So to be in that team at that age where I'm quite almost impressionable, and I want to improve, and I want to see how they do it. It was amazing, and they really, as I've said before, they really welcomed me in when I was training, and I really felt part of it, which was such a good feeling for me, and it spurred me on to I really to have more of that, and and to win the things they've won, and keep striving and keep developing as a player. It was truly an amazing experience.
I suppose you did in fact get a taste of that, because we moved forward to December in 2021. I mean, you're still 17, and Carabao Cup tie against Brentford comes up, and you're able to feature on the bench. What was that sort of like? Not only the whole sort of situation where being a kid at Chelsea's academy from the age of 9, working your way through, earning a professional contract, then being included in a matchday squad, and then being a part of it in a cup tie where Chelsea were arguably expected to win. What was that like? Obviously, being around it, being on the bus to the stadium, and just being involved.
Yeah, surreal. It was as a boy who's come through the academy, and that's what you're aiming for. You're aiming to be part of the first team. So to have that experience and to see what it's like, and to maybe feel that your hard work's paying off in a sense, it was incredible. Unfortunately I didn't get on, but to be there and just to see again how the likes of those players warm up, and how they prepare, and what Tuchel at the time wanted, and the coaching staff, it was really valuable, and I loved every minute. I remember I was just soaking in everything, to be honest, and to do it at 17 was great.
Yeah, just talk to us a little bit more about Thomas Tuchel. I mean, obviously he's in the England role now, but for you to have a manager at 17 to then go into the professional environment, to have that sort of manager, that must have been special, right?
Truly, yeah, really, really special. I mean, you could feel his presence and his a lot of people say aura right now, but it's true. You felt his his presence, and you really wanted to listen to him and take on what he's saying, and he was so, so detailed, and it was, looking back now, it was huge for me, and to be around that group of players as well, and that experience that they held, and how much they helped me in certain situations, and the little comments that they would make to me that would really help. But to be in that, to have my first team experiences at that time at Chelsea was massive, because also there was a lot of boys from the academy that had kind of broken through, the likes of Mason Mount, Callum Hudson-Odoi, Reece James, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, and so you could really relate to them, and they helped me massively, and that was really great.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose it gets to a certain point where everyone starts to branch out. I mean, the players that you've just mentioned there, they've all had loan spells and various things. Mason Mount went and played in the Netherlands. You then, in fact, went and did the same thing, going to Heerenveen last season on loan. What was that sort of like, playing in the Netherlands and playing against teams such as Ajax and PSV?
Yeah, it was again a massive experience. I was there for a year. I was there for last season, and it was, again, it makes you grow, makes you develop. Experiencing new things, new environments can only help you. I love my time out there. It wasn't plain sailing. I had to learn a lot about myself in terms of grit and determination, and to never give in, really. And I was proud of myself in that sense. But it just makes you really strong. But yeah, it was a great experience. I like, in the Eredivisie was a really high level, and it really developed me, and I saw football in slightly different ways out there as well. But yeah, I loved being there. Loved being in that country as well, and in Holland, and it really was a great place to live, and I enjoyed it.
You sort of said there about how they do things differently, obviously in different countries, in different leagues. How important do you think that is as somebody that is constantly developing? I mean, we touched on it at the start, you're only 21. How important do you think that is, that the more opportunities that you get to sort of branch out and expand your knowledge, and also get used to and adapt and become usable to whoever it is you may play for?
Yeah, I think it's massive. Because I think football changes constantly. So I think to have the ability to adapt and be flexible is really important. And so to play under different managers, to see different styles of play. I think that almost the earlier you can see it all, the better as well. And I think that's not that I've seen it all, but it's good that I've had experiences that are really valuable to me. And it was like I said, it can only stand you in good stead. And I'm really glad that I made the decision to go over, and because it was a big one, but I was really glad I did, because like I say, you just it opens your eyes to different scenarios. And I'd been at Chelsea for 10, 11 years, and that's all I'd seen. So it was great to see something else, and so I'm really glad I did it.
Yeah, I mean, continue with that sort of grit and resilience. Obviously, your time at Chelsea came to an end in the summer when you were signed here at Burton Albion. It wasn't a plain sailing start for you. Obviously, you picked up an injury in pre-season that kept you out for a couple of months. Was that sort of like your first major injury in your career?
I wouldn't say the first one. I had one when I was like 15 or so. It kept me out for 6 months or so with a fractured foot, but it felt similar to that. I was gutted. The timing was an absolute killer. A couple of weeks before the season, I couldn't really believe it, to be honest. But I just had to focus on coming back as quickly as possible, and coming back stronger and ready to help the team, and I'm glad I'm able to now. And the season it's not plain sailing again, and we're in a situation we're in, but it's almost about embracing it, and do our job, focus on ourselves, and let the rest take care of itself.
I mean, like you said, you have been able to come in and help the team now, and let's go back to mid-February when we're looking at Stevenage on the Tuesday night and Lincoln away on the Saturday. Two 1-0 wins, two solo goals from yourself. I bet you must have been feeling on top of the world with that.
Yeah, it was a good week. It was a good week, but more importantly, it was the 6 points. It was, the performances in those two games from the team was outstanding, and 2 away trips. It was and to deal with it the way we did. Stevenage going down to 10 men that early, and riding that out, and then Lincoln was slightly different, but Lincoln was a really tough game that we dealt with so well, and we had to be patient for our chances and take them when they came. I think the goals obviously were maybe the highlights, but there was so much behind that without that the goals would have never happened, and that was really good to see.
Just for you personally then, obviously moving forward, Gary Bailey likes to take things game by game. I'm sure it's the same for all of you within the group. Just talk to us about the togetherness in the group and sort of what the lads are looking for towards the end of the season. Obviously the main aim is survival, but there seems to be a real togetherness within the group.
100%. I mean, it's such a tight group of boys. Really a group that gets on so well, and we all want the best for each other. We all want the best for the club, and I think that togetherness and that tight, how tight knit we are, is really going to help us, because you can feel it. You can feel everyone's really like pushing in the same direction, and the gaffer coming in, he's been so good in that sense. He's really he's brought everyone together, and not that we weren't before, but it's just having a new lease of life, or a new voice can sometimes help a group, and it really feels like it's galvanised us, and we're ready to really attack these next 9 games, and that's what we want to do.
Well, it's great to hear your story, Charlie. Thanks for speaking.
No problem.